Welcome back to the Highway 49 podcast. I am currently coming to you from the future. Actually, I'll be on the beach, hopefully with a beverage in hand the time you are hearing this. Today's a fun pod. We've got DJ Burgess on the show, caught up with DJ the night before training camp eve, as some would say. You leave your pads out for Coach Albin or whatever that may be. But yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit. I did a survey recently for the Charlotte fans. Thank you all for filling that out. Got really good participation with this, and a pretty good idea from the fan base of, what they think of the team this upcoming season. I'm going to read through some of that here in a few minutes. But do want to talk about DJ Burgess really fast. So DJ coming in, if you don't remember him from last year, that makes total sense. He played a handful of snaps, so most of the game against Appalachian State before suffering an injury, missing the whole season. He dealt with a labrum tear. He went through with the surgery. You'll hear from me in this. I've torn my labrum a couple times the past couple years, and so we talked a little bit of that. But DJ, really good dude, got into the kind of the art of pass rushing, what goes into it, some of his favorite plays. We've got some of his JUCO highlight on here, and I presume he'll end up being a starter this upcoming season on the edge. If he doesn't start, he's going to play a ton of reps. He's one of the bigger body guys, and he'll be a force off the edge if he's able to stay healthy and do what he wants to do this season. So when you're hearing this, you guys will have heard the Will Healy pod from Monday. Kind of a blast from the past there. Very full circle for me, and glad that we were able to make that happen before the season and talk a little bit, because it really is. I mean, it's less than a month from now to the 5-year anniversary of the Duke game. So appreciate him for coming on. Appreciate DJ. And then, like I say, tune in on Friday. We've got Brian Boyle, an assistant head coach with the Charlotte men's basketball team. He was a part of the Swarm. He's been all across the NBA. Got a lot of really good insight of Wes Miller, the current roster, some of the Hornets guys that have played with the Swarm, Musa, Tijon Salon, Liam McNeely. Really fun interview. He's also an Eagles fan. Go Birds. But yeah, and one other thing I just want to say, so I'm recording this Friday. You're hearing it on Wednesday. So like I said, come to you from the future. But it was awesome to watch. Just a ridiculous preseason opener, the Hall of Fame game, the Carolina Panthers, Haynes King walking it off for the Cats, and seeing Luke Kuechly, among others, get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was able to meet him with the Jumpman Invitational event that the Jordan brand put on with a lot of big-name college basketball teams coming to Charlotte the past few years. I won part of the lottery with that, the media lottery, where we were able to get some new pair of Jordans, got some Tatums from that, was able to play basketball at the Spectrum Center with some legends, with guys like Joe Barry, with Thomas Davis, Jonathan Stewart, and then Luke Kuechly. Marty Smith was another guy there. Quite a few big-name Panthers and kind of local, sports celebrities and whatnot. But Luke, first-class guy. Love to see him in the Hall of Fame. That's awesome. But I'll go ahead and get through these survey results, and then I'll get to the conversation with DJ. So not going to take too much of your time. DJ and I talked for about 30 minutes. Really good conversation with him. But let's dive into it. So I think we posed 12, or I posed 12 questions. Yep. So we're just going to talk through them, and I'll read the percentages and give some thoughts on each. We'll wrap this up about 10 minutes or so. So question number 1, what is your confidence level in Tim Albin's ability to turn the program around? 46% fall in the moderate category, which after a 1-11 season, that makes a lot of sense. About half the group. 30% high level of confidence. 18% very high, meaning they're fully expecting a year 2 turnaround. 4% low level of confidence, and a 2% very low. If you asked me, I think I fall in that moderate category as well. I'm in the wait and see stage, right? What is year 2? How many wins can they stack this season? Can they get to 3 or 4 and show real tangible process or progress, win a couple games? They probably shouldn't. And kind of set up that year 3 with the stadium expansion will be open. It will be his 3rd year, and if he makes it, he'll be the first coach to make it past 2 years since Will Healy. So we'll be interested to see what happens with that. It's question 1. Question 2 dives into the team. What position group are you the most confident in? And working with some of you guys, I added in a total guess category for some casual fans or folks that haven't necessarily followed or really just don't know, because this team turns over year to year. So 24% of the group is there's a total guess, right? That's the highest percent, tied with linebackers. So people are the most confident in the linebackers. That's Gavin Willis. That's Caden Schmitz. Stellan Bowman's back. Parker Starts is back. That room has a lot of guys back from last year, although Caden Schmitz was the only kind of consistent starter in that group. Then you move out to wide receiver. I said on a recent pod, that's a total question mark for me outside of Jaden Barnes, but there is a lot of proven production coming in. Some guys coming back that didn't get to play quite as much. 14% quarterback. This caught me off guard a little bit, just with the uncertainty. Is Connor Harrell going to be the guy? Is Cole Gonzalez going to be the guy? Offensive line getting 10%. That's some love for the offensive line, which struggled last year, and the same 10% for the defensive line. So those are the lowest of the group, and that makes sense to me, just knowing there's a lot to prove, a lot of trenches. We heard Tim Albin talk about needing to get heavier. It sounds like they have. On paper, they have, absolutely. We'll see what happens if they can stay upright. So moving to the quarterbacks. Who will take the first snap at quarterback this season? I posed 2 separate quarterbacks to this. Quarterbacks question to this. 84% Cole Gonzalez is what the overwhelming majority of you guys think. 8% for Connor Harrell. 2% for Grayson Loftus. Grayson played the most snaps a year ago. And then 6% was a total guess. I think that's still up in the air. If you asked me today, I would tell you the same thing. Cole Gonzalez would be my thought on the first snap at quarterback this season. Similar question, who will take the most snaps? Again, I said Grayson Loftus was this guy last year who played a lot of games after Connor Harrell went down. 66% of people think Cole Gonzalez will take the most snaps. It's a big jump for Connor Harrell here. He's 22% coming off this ACL, MCL tear. So maybe people don't necessarily think he'll take the first rep, kind of getting back to himself, but people can see him eventually taking over that job. We got 4% Jalen White, which caught me off guard without him getting any votes in the first snap. And then 8% as a total guess. So we'll see what happens with that. If I had to, I think it's kind of as ordered right now. I would imagine Grayson Loftus would get an opportunity before Jalen White just because he's so green, but Jalen White is continuing to build momentum with some good play so far. Moving to question 5, will a returnee or a newcomer lead the running backs this season? It's pretty much split here. We got 50% as a returnee, so that means Jeriel Cobb or Henry Rutledge. 40% a newcomer. It's going to be the Chance Williams, the Demarion Petit, the Kamani Alexander, one of these new guys coming in. And then 10% total guess. I'm with you as far as leading the running backs. This is a pretty split thing. I'll be interested to see who gets the lion's share of the carries. Moving to question 6, which newcomer will make the biggest impact? We got to split the highest ranking here, 26% for 2 separate guys, both newcomers. Cole Gonzalez being the first, Jaden Barnes from Appalachian State being the second. We got Javen Williams, the 5-star Penn State transfer, 22%. We've got Devin Ancrum, a 2%. He's a defensive tackle coming over from North Carolina. And then 24% of you guys said total guess, which I think makes a lot of sense. If you ask me, I would tell you probably Jaden Barnes. I just think he's going to be a monster in this offense this season. We got one other submission. It's Zaheem Kalik, a receiver coming over from Bryant. So like I said on a recent pod, the wide receiver room's a total question, especially on the outside. So there's a chance. Let's get into question 7. Who will be the biggest breakout player this season? A lot of different answers here. The highest was 32% as a total guess. Totally understand that. The highest pick was Jeriel Cobb, 22%. We saw him come on last year, 51 carries for 190 yards. He was kind of that stabilizer in the backfield to close the season. We got 16% for Jaden Barnes, 14% for DJ Burgess, who you'll hear from here in a few minutes. 10% of Gavin Willis, the Mike linebacker who'll be wearing the helmet Mike, leading the defense, the quarterback of the defense this season. Colin Gill, who played a ton in the secondary last season, more than likely will be the nickel. He was at 4%. And then Dylon Womack, a true freshman last year, is at 2%. Moving to question 8, who will be Charlotte's most impactful defensive player? We got Caden Schmitz leading the way here. You guys have heard him on the pod a couple times. 36% there. Gavin Willis, again, 16%. DJ Burgess, 10%. CJ Clinkscales, who played the most of any returning DB, 6%. Colin Gill, again, 4%. And then 28% of you guys was a total guess. I'm with you. I'll be interested to see. I think Gavin Willis, Caden are safe bets just because that linebacker position is considered a strength on this team. But I hope Colin Gill takes a step, or maybe one of these edge rushers has a big year, a double-digit sack season for the first time in quite a while with this program. So moving to question 9, what's your biggest area of concern ahead of camp? I'm going to get into the others in a minute because there were a lot of others on this. Offensive line, 42% led the way percentage-wise. Quarterback play was 30%. Both of these make a ton of sense to me as biggest concerns. Running back depth was 2%. And then I skipped over defensive line, which was 14%. 4% of you guys said total guess. Let's get into the others. The biggest area of concern, you're able to type these in. One person said the coach, referring to Tim Albin. Another person said lack of talent and depth, just across the board, being a big concern. Both the offensive and defensive lines, totally understandable after a year ago. The secondary and tight ends, completely agree. Gus McGee is back. CJ Clinkscales, Colin Gill, Dylon Womack. That's pretty much it in the secondary. And last year they played 15 guys there, so you got to think 3 out of 15 are proven. And it was a struggle. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. We'll see. And then linebacker depth, which I understand that concern with because the depth last year is the starters this year. How is that going to fare? What happens if one of these guys goes down? And then the secondary was another mention. So 3 more questions here. Question 10, which coordinator faces more pressure this season to improve? This was a landslide. 90% offensive coordinator Todd Fitch, according to you guys, faces the most pressure to improve. 8% was Nate Fonez, the defensive coordinator. 2% was neither. I'm with you. It's Todd Fitch. I said on a recent pod, 14.8 points per game, 2020 with Vanderbilt. His next year as an OC calling the plays on the field, 14.3 points per game. You got to pretty much double that, at least add 10 points to that this season if this team's going to compete. So last 2 questions. Which games are you most excited for this season? So the percentages on this are skewed because you guys voted for multiple, which I was happy to see. The highest voted for, and I'm just going to read them in order. Appalachian State, number 1. East Carolina, number 2. Memphis, number 3. Navy, number 4. Ole Miss, number 5. Appalachian State had 70% of the votes, which makes a lot of sense. ECU, 62%. Memphis, 10. Navy, 9. Ole Miss, somewhere in the 8 to 9% range. And then we had a couple others added. The Citadel, the return of Niner football, totally agree. That'll be fun and, is probably their most winnable game on the schedule. And then one addition was Louisiana, which, as you know, Charlotte was supposed to play Louisville. That ended up getting swapped for Louisiana, which is probably going to be great for the team this season. Last question. Win-loss prediction. I'm not going to give mine today. I'm going to make you guys wait. But Tim Albin is known for year 2 turnarounds. How many games will Charlotte win this upcoming season? 60% of you guys say 4 to 5 wins, which would be a massive improvement on a 1-11 season a year ago. I would love for it to go that way. It's going to be a lot more fun for me and a lot more fun for you guys. And obviously, a lot more fun for those guys on the field. Tim Albin talked about a lot, uncomfortable year last year, from the administrators to the coaches to the players, the staff, the fans. And it was. I mean, it was a tough season. One win, didn't beat an FCS or didn't beat an FBS team. You know, an O for an American Conference play. So if they can get to 4-5, that's going to be a huge jump, and that will absolutely, green light, in my opinion, at least, green light another Tim Albin season with this program. Which I've said it a few times. I'll say it again. I think they'll be foolish to move on from him, whether it's during the second year. And obviously, you need to see the results of this before you decide the future. But new ads throw a wrench in the plans, across the nation. So we'll see. So 60% of you guys, 4-5 wins. 30% of you guys think 2-3 wins. 8% of you guys think 6+ to make a bowl game. Be the second time ever in program history, and would be just a ridiculous turnaround. And then 2% of you guys think 0-1 win, which would be, last year, which was already hell. So hopefully, the 60% group is correct. The 8%, a bowl game would be phenomenal, but I think realistic progress is in that 4-5 win range. I'll give my picks on offensive, defensive, team MVP, and whatnot, and record prediction closer to the season. But I'll go ahead and wrap with that. Thank you guys for filling out the survey on the Substack. Please continue to subscribe to the Substack, read what's on there, tell your friends about it, and more stories will begin to post there once I'm back from the beach. So, like I say, you're hearing this today. Today would be the second day in full pads for Charlotte. Pads come on the 11th. You're hearing this on the 12th. So I'll go ahead and get to DJ Burgess. Good conversation with DJ. Really good dude. And hopefully you guys enjoy this, and check back Friday for some men's hoops talk. We got conference opponents. We got Brian Boyle on the pod. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll be back. Got a fun guest on the show today. Returning defensive end for the Charlotte 49ers, DJ Burgess, man. Appreciate your time, brother.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yes, sir. We talked a little bit before last season, then some back and forth through the season, kind of through social media and whatnot. But I want to get right into it, man. You suffered a tough injury, I think, in the App State game.
Yeah.
And then missed the rest of the season with that. Talk about kind of the extent of that injury, the road to recovery, and how you're doing now, man. Obviously got to participate in spring ball and geared up for the season now.
So I tore my labrum, but I had originally banged it up at first in JUCO around my last couple of games there, but it was just playoff time and all that, so I just kind of
Had to lock it
kept
in.
rolling. Yeah, and it just was I rehabbed it through there, and it seemed like everything was good. And then got to that app game, and it was I was good, but then it was just one play. It was just a freak little, I hit the quarterback and I landed, and it just kind of elbow hit the ground, and it just came up through there. It was
So
crazy.
I've torn mine twice, playing volleyball of all things, and then the second time was doing like a beer Olympics with some friends, running through an obstacle course, some stupid shit, and fell, and I went to catch myself, and similar to what you're talking about, it just popped out.
Yeah.
How so you did the surgery to recover?
Yeah, I had surgery probably a week or two after the game, and then I started rehabbing like that next week or whatever, and then
It's tough, man. You got to sleep in the sling and everything. It's no joke.
yeah, but it was a rough couple. That first couple weeks was definitely rough, but I won't say it was the best thing that could have happened, but it was probably I probably needed that just to refocus on everything. So
Yeah.
I won't complain.
Absolutely, man. So I opted not to do the surgery both times. I tore it the first time, did PT, rehab, tore it again. And they gave me an option. They were like, you can have the surgery tomorrow or a month from now. And I was like, I couldn't do it the next day. Just like didn't have anybody to like pick me up or whatever. And by the time like 3 weeks later, I had a lot of mobility back. Wasn't strong yet, but like, so I opted not to do it. Did PT again, and we'll see. So fingers crossed, man. So hopefully everything works out with yours. I know it's not fun, but good to hear you got like the good perspective on it. Um, Obviously participated in spring, and now camp kicks off tomorrow morning, man. So you've got one Tim Albin camp under your belt. Talk about that experience and then what you're expecting this time around. Obviously, year two with him.
Um, I feel like last year I saw a lot of just like the baseline of what we'll be like doing, and I know coach like he tried to keep us from just like overworking, like not I don't want to say overworking, but just keep us out of the heat a little bit with that AC truck sometimes on the like overly hot days. So they take care of us. But I think just from what I saw in the summer and spring, I feel like things would be a little bit like kicked up a notch this year. Just from I feel like the way that even just with the summer program with Coach Miller, like I feel like everything have been a little more intense, and we just been it's been to see how we respond, but we've been responding good. So I feel like they might keep see how far we can go in camp too.
Absolutely, man. And it's a lot of familiar faces in this front seven on defense. Looking at it, you're back, Curtis Simpson, Jalen Johnson, a lot of these guys on the D line. Obviously, Caden Schmitz, Gavin in the linebacker room. Uh, how different does this defense feel to you from maybe a year ago? Obviously, a lot of new faces in the back end in particular.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I feel better about the defense just because of with no offense to last year and or any type, but just I feel like now we know each other better, and it's more
Yeah,
like we gel together more, and it's like just from like I feel like regardless of we got like I'm not sure exactly who behind me at all times, but I know we got enough DBs to where they can rotate, and I don't really have to worry about like who's back there. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not really worried about anybody just no blow on coverage, and I feel like up front we get enough rush and enough linebacker coverage to help with the back end anyway. So I feel like just from knowing each other better and being used to playing with each other, that'll help the whole defense as a whole anyways.
absolutely, man. And Rush was one. I mean, really, it was just a struggle last year. Rush and coverage work together. You know that if the rush isn't there, the coverage got to do more. Sometimes if the rush is there, coverage isn't there, it doesn't matter. So if everything's on a string, and you know that playing a ton of college ball. I want to ask you about someone you've gotten to go against. And one of the big things with this team this year is obviously the trenches. Want to see both sides improve. We're going up against Javen Williams in practice, coming over from Penn State. It's a really highly recruited guy out of high school. Hasn't played a ton in college. What has that matchup been like for you? Have you gotten to go against him much? And what can you say about his game at this point?
Yeah, so in the spring I don't want to say limited, but coach tried to keep me more to one side just because of the injury, and I was returning, so I didn't go against him as much as I would, but I definitely will more in camp coming up. And just from the spring though, the because I had probably like I had a good chunk of reps against him. I think just like I mean, it was definitely intense just going against. I feel like both tackles, honestly. Like, I feel like on the other side, like Christos has improved a lot from last year, and I think that Javen on the other side, like the few times I have gone against him, he give me a tough like competition, and it's just back and forth. And I like the fact that there's not like I don't have to. It's like I'm not gonna win every rep. I know that, and I'm not gonna lose every rep. Like there's back and forth, and I like the competition that we have, and it's like I feel like there's a lot of competition just in the trenches in general, like from
Absolutely.
guards, tackles, center, whatever. Like all the O line, D line. I feel like we've been competing a lot through the spring and camp. I know we got to kick it up even more.
Absolutely. And with that, obviously the installs and whatnot in spring, it's kind of nice now. One portal window. So the guys you play with in the spring, it's not a whole new team coming back in the fall. And so with that, talk about year two with Nate Faunus, his scheme. When I hear about some of the best schemes across the NFL, college football, you hear about guys, particularly on the edge, not having to think. You can just play. But what is this scheme like for you, and how's it been kind of learning going into year two with it?
I feel like it's a pretty simple scheme to learn, honestly, at least from a D line perspective. I know, I mean, the linebackers probably have to know a little more than I do, but just overall, I feel like the scheme, just knowing it coming back from last year, and the fact that coach is like flexible with the scheme, and he's like, because there's like I mean, it's going to be the same scheme, obviously, but we're not just going to run the exact same plays from last year and
Of
just
course.
try to. He threw some wrinkles and changed some things up in just some of the plays that we already ran just based off of what worked and what didn't work. And I like the fact that there's adjustments in there and that we're working on what didn't work and trying to find new solutions. And I just feel like we all can play faster just with that. And like I know specifically like the D tackles have been like playing a lot faster just because of certain things we changed with the scheme going from last year to this year. And like I know it's helped me and the other ends just because of you know, D tackles working a lot is when they're playing good, it's easier for us to play good, easier for the linebackers, easier for the DBs. So I feel like the defense works from inside out and the inside seems a lot better. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Talk about
that
some of those
speaks for
guys.
itself.
You got some newcomers. I know Devin Ancrum's one of those. But talk about that group and some of those guys that you do like, or obviously like all, of them, but some of the new faces. That's how.
Yeah, nah, Dev, that's my guy. I like to mess with him a lot though. He's strong, but I like to mess with him because he about speed just cause. Cause I see him squat like some crazy. I see him squat like 600 and
Jesus.
yeah, like some crazy stuff a few weeks ago. So I was like, yeah, you can't beat me in a race though, but. But Dev, definitely then you got Denaz coming over. Um who else we got? Oh, we got my guy E that just came in. Um I can't remember exactly what school he came from. I believe it was D2 though. And then who else? I mean, really just the whole group. And then you got Solo coming back, obviously.
Yeah, he's twitchy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my guy. But I always mess with him too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I tell him he can he's fast, but he can't get off the ball before me, so it don't matter. But then Solo, Caleb, we got Io back.
Yep.
He got hurt in camp last year, so he's back now. Really, it's just a lot of guys that coming back from injury and stuff like that. That's just like really helping. I feel like a lot of last year problem we didn't have a lot of guys due to injury, and a lot of those guys are back and mixing in with the new guys, and
Yep.
I just feel like the group as a whole is just you know
Yeah. I mean, it
meshing well right now.
helps too to obviously A, be in good health, but B, get that time together, spring into fall. Obviously, people don't really think about it. Like you think O line obviously has to be on a string, but the D line's the same, whether that's gap integrity, you get a chance to run games, TEs, ETs, and whatnot. But I want to talk to you about when when we talk edge rushers, people always focus on sacks, right? But what makes an edge rusher great beyond just getting to the quarterback, in your opinion?
I think versatility, honestly, like I feel like for me that's the number one thing that I try to be versatile. Like I don't want to just people consider me an edge rusher or whatever. Like I feel like I'm a D lineman at the end of the day. Like, cause so if I got to put my hand in the dirt and go in there and make the stop on the goal line, and they want to run power, you got to be ready to fight a double team or a reach or whatever. So I feel like being able to just stop the run too, play against the run, or maybe some rushers can go from edge to three tech here, or maybe inside to a one or whatever, and just rush a guard, center, whoever. I feel like just being able to do all the different things that are required for the position, or maybe just that you could possibly do, is like just being a bonus, just being able to do more than one thing. Like in high school, like some people are linebackers slash DNs, and like, I feel like just even then, you get recruited more just being versatile. So I feel
Yep.
like it just carries over. Like, you always want to be versatile, whatever, regardless. Like an O lineman, if you can play tackle, if you can play both tackle spots, like, instead of just one side. So I feel like being able to do more is just always better.
Yeah, I talked about it with, I think it was Coach Maddox last year. He's not with the team anymore this year, but being able to find the fish and line up wherever, get after whatever the weak link is on the O line. Um, but I want to talk about kind of the art of like pass rushing for a few minutes because it really is, man. But pre snap, how do you? Obviously, a lot goes into it, but how do you decide before a snap whether you're attacking with speed or with power? Talking to you last year, you're more of a power guy, but you got the speed too.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think you're always trying to start with speed just because of like that's just the rule of thumb with pass rushing. I feel like just because it's obviously the quickest route to the quarterback if you can get there without even having to touch anybody.
Right.
But I feel like it's more of a reaction or just the knowledge you got of the tackle or guard, whoever, just beforehand. Like, you watch the film going into the game and you see, oh, does he set maybe vertical, kick straight back, or does he try to jump out there, beat you to the edge? And when it comes to that type of stuff, it's like, okay, well, if he's going to jump out here, maybe I'm not going to try to go speed because I know he's gonna cut that off. So I'm gonna probably have to go inside or whatever. I
Yeah.
might have to go power here. Or if he's gonna sit back and wait on me, well then I might just run straight
Bull
through
rush.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you gotta think about those certain things, and then it's just knowing the matchups really. It's all matchup based, I feel like.
Yeah.
And if you got, maybe if I go against a bigger tackle, I probably won't try to run through him just because like, you know,
Yeah.
size. I'm outmatched by that part. But then if I go against maybe a smaller guy quick on his feet, I probably, you know, that's probably
Yeah.
the time where I can go power. So I just feel like it's just based on the matchup and toolbox what you got.
Absolutely. It's a chess match too, man. The counters, the everything back and forth. And I won't ask you your favorite counters or whatnot. Not trying to, give anything away. But when you're studying film prepping, like obviously there's so much turnover year to year in college, especially with the portal. It's not like the NFL where you see, all right, you got the Eagles on the schedule, you know it's Lane Johnson, or you got, you know, whoever on the schedule, you know it's X tackles. So when studying film, whether it's the week of the game, in the preseason, what's the first thing you're looking for in an offensive tackle as you try and obviously build your rushing plan?
I really go to the pre-snap and I just go. I look more to see if he's giving a tell based on, is it run or pass? Like I
Yeah,
want to see the type of stance he's in. Maybe if they're running, maybe he's in a 3 point, and then maybe when it's 3rd and 12, oh, his hand's not on the ground no more, or maybe he's just like a little bit wider in his stand, wider base, a little lower to the ground. Anything like that, anything that can give you that kind of
yeah,
jump and just know
tell.
that, like, yeah, like, so you can get the get off and then, you go from there anyways. And I probably think the next, after that, you just, you know, you get to the set, obviously. Where is he trying to get to? Where his hands going? Stuff like that. And based off of there, you kind of build your plan. But even having a plan, at the end of the day, it's kind of a reaction. So
Yeah.
you got to be able to like think on your feet and just be able to change it up at all the time. So it's kind of
Talk about like setting up moves too. I think this is probably my. I mean, I didn't play edge rusher. I was like outside, weak side linebacker, dude. So I was watching the guys rush. I was blitzing every now and then in high school. But talk about setting up moves and what goes into that, right? Because as you just said, everything once you get into the game, bullets start flying. The plan is there, but oftentimes it goes out the window.
yeah. So I mean, really, like maybe if you know a tackle is like easy to, he's susceptible to power.
Yeah,
You might want to set him up with maybe you go speed, for the first 3 plays or whatever, just to get him. Okay, boom. He got to beat me to this spot now because I'm going with speed. And now he's going to sit back and he's going to wait, try to get you to the spot. And then obviously at that point, you can just run right through him. I mean, it's not that simple as I made it sound,
yeah,
but but or maybe maybe you want to counter inside somewhere. So you go here and you take them to the left side all the time, left side, and then you come back left side, and then boom, now you go right side.
club
It's
chop.
just
Yes,
like
sir.
that.
Yeah,
It's just like it's like cat and mouse almost. Because the O lineman obviously gonna do the same type of stuff and kind of change up his sets and all this type of stuff. It's a real chess match. It's basically the same as the wide receiver and DBs. They
yeah.
try to change up those type of releases and jam and all that type of stuff, and it's just like it's kind of like mm, I don't even know. I guess a tennis match, just with
Yeah.
the back and forth. I guess that's the best way to describe it, if you ask me.
Except you're knocking the shit out of each other every play. It's a little different than receiver. You know, not that many penalties
Yeah,
in there. But one thing I don't feel like people talk about enough, and I want to hear your perspective on is hand placement. Right? There's so much that goes into that. So talk about what that means for you, A, and then B. Like, who's kind of taught you the most about that through your career?
I feel like, well, for one, hand placement is just like obviously one of the most important things because like it's controlling. It's hand placement will give you the advantage. Honestly, like if there's a run play and you shoot your hands and Olami shoots his hands. They say the low man wins, obviously, but with hand placement is kind of different because you kind of want to be high hands to an extent just so you have the control.
Yeah,
But I feel like at the end of the day, whoever has the better hand placement wins. And it's almost like riding a bike. You can't really ride a bike without the handlebars. You gotta control where you're going, and it's
yeah,
like if you can't get off this block or drive this block, without your handlebars. And I feel like that's the same thing. And as far as just who taught me the most, I would probably say it's just a combination of like all my coaches over time. Like I'd probably say, back in high school, my D-line coach definitely like instilled some of that in it. And just like before that, even then, like my dad, like, he taught me a lot of that type of stuff. And I feel like probably my freshman year, I can remember like we had these we would put these little bands around our wrists, like handcuffs almost, and it was like if you didn't shoot your hands to a certain spot, and have the right hand placement and get off the block, you basically in handcuffs. So it's like you gotta have good hand placement. So I can shout out to my freshman year D line coach for that definitely. But yeah, just in JUCO as well. Like it was just a lot of every coach has their own little spin on it, and you just kind of take little bits and pieces of everything and just kind of put it all together. I feel like,
Absolutely,
and
man.
even with Coach Vic now.
Yeah. Yeah, watching the edge rushers is probably my favorite matchups to watch when a defense is on the field. Whether it's like I say in NFL, watching tackle matchups, and it's different. Like I say, it's different in college because it just turns over so much. Like I gotta dive in on all these American Conference teams and figure out what tackles are back and who you will be, going up against this year. So I talked to Alex Highsmith recently. He came on the pod, and I asked him a question like the mental side of pass rush, right? Like getting a sack early in the game. What does that do for your mentality, being able to relax into a game or even early in the season? So I want to pose that same question to you. What does it mean to get, whether it's a hit on the quarterback, a TFL or a sack early in the game? How does that kind of help you settle into a football game?
Yeah, I feel like honestly that's my favorite like thing to do. Like I feel like the first play of every game, I want to make the first tackle. Like every game, I don't know. It's just like, and at the out game last year, I actually missed the tackle the first play of the game, and that that was kind of like, ah, kind of wake up call. But I made the second tackle, but it was like, you know, I just feel like getting that like you kind of get that advantage, It's almost like the momentum just kind of feel like it shifts towards you when you
Yeah.
make the first, you make that play early in the game. If you get a sack, like if you get a sack in the first quarter or the first half, like it just kind of demoralizing for the offensive linemen just to, because they got to block the whole game, obviously.
Yeah.
And early in the game, if you make a big play like that, it's kind of get in their head. You can talk a little if you want to, celebrate, whatever, and that's just kind of like that'll really get in their head and just, it'll help. I feel like it helps to get your teammates into it as well. Just like the energy, it
Yeah.
just shifts.
And kind of going off that, talk about maybe the favorite sack you've had across your career, if there is one that stands out. Not necessarily just what happened after the whistle, but kind of the pre-snap, what you saw, how you set it up. If you remember that, obviously had quite a few in your career.
Honestly, I'll probably say in the state championship game in JUCO, I got a sack like right before halftime, and I was just like it was off a move that I set up the whole game. It was like I went speed because I saw the tackle. The tackle kind of, I knew it was a pass, obviously, just because of his stance. Because he went from like a square base to more of a narrow stance, and he had one foot behind the other one, and it was like, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of, I don't know, that play, I just, knowing it was pass, I just felt like, I don't know, Lightning McQueen. Like, that's just my, that's my go-to. I don't know.
Child.
Yeah, it's just like, as soon as the ball snaps, it's just go. And it's just like, I felt like I didn't even really want to use a move, honestly, but I had to, but little chopped up grip, and just came around the edge just like that. We got the sack, 4th down, and then after that, I mean, I think we 3 and out, and we just took off from there and just we won the championship that day. And
Yeah.
that was just like I feel like it was more of just the result of the game than the sack, but I go
You
back to that
snagged that.
sack a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you got a video, you have to send it to me. I'll plug it in with this. But
I got
was that Zach Wilkie slinging the rock for that team?
yeah, that was
Yeah, yeah. You keep up with him now? I know
God.
he hit the portal. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I talked to him the other day.
yeah. He's a good dude, man. It was fun to see him get some run last season. Well, you and I talked a little bit about that, but absolutely, man. A few more questions for you, man. Some just like rapid fire questions. Sack or a forced fumble, man? What would you rather have?
Strip sack.
Yeah. Okay. Great answer. Yeah. Win clean around the edge or walk a tackle back to the quarterback.
I say win clean.
Yeah. Trash talker or quiet assassin, which could fall under either, or which one stands out?
I would say I'm more of a quiet guy, but I like to celebrate at the same time.
Yeah,
So
got to.
I might it might seem like I'm talking a little trash, but I'll be celebrating with my teammates definitely.
Absolutely, man. What's the loudest stadium you've ever played in?
Played in, I'll probably have to say Southern Miss, but I think that'll definitely change week 2 when I go back home.
Yeah,
'Cause I've been to a few Ole Miss games and it's definitely pretty
be
loud,
rocking.
but
Yeah,
I'm excited for that one.
yeah. That'll be a ridiculous game, man. You got, I assume, friends and family coming out to that one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, Trinidad running around back there. Had to chase him down. But
Yeah.
hardest hitter on this defense this year besides yourself.
um, that's a hard one. I'll probably say mm, it's a couple. I give you two. I'll say Colin Gill and probably either Schmitz or Stellan Bowman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, glad to hear with that. Yeah, I haven't talked. Schmitz came on the pod the other day. I've been talking about Gavin Willis. They say y'all call him the robot.
Oh yeah, Gal is definitely like a human robot. He remind me of Luke Kuechly, honestly.
Yeah. Kuechly
Yeah,
going in
he's
the
just
Hall of
like
Fame this week.
yeah. Football.
Yeah.
Trust me, you'll see it though. He know the defense like the back of his hand.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That probably definitely helps the interior D line guys, knowing slants and all that good stuff. I guess last question for you, man. How excited are you for the season? Obviously, getting back to the field, you work back through the labrum tear, the recovery. How excited are you for week 1 and then going from there?
And I'm just glad to be back, honestly, and I'm ready to get out there with my teammates, honestly, and just hopefully make somebody else feel the pain.
Yeah, man.
and, and just go out there and have some more fun. I'm having fun just spring ball, summer, fall camp, even. And I know it'll be even more fun when we get out there on the field. So it's just we get the lights on and it's showtime. And that's our thing for the D line, it's showtime. So,
Yes, sir.
you know, ready for showtime.
Yeah, man. I think what's the 4th day of practice? Pads come on. Get rocking from there. But DJ,
Sure.
man, I appreciate your time, bro. We'll definitely check back in, maybe either during the season or after. But definitely
All
appreciate
right.
your time, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.